Have you ever walked into a room in your house and, for a few seconds, stood there, not knowing what you were doing there? Or found yourself mistaking your grandchildren's names, forgetting where you put the key, or taking longer than usual to remember a common everyday word? Perhaps you've noticed that certain simple tasks, like organizing your bills or remembering an old recipe, have started to seem a little more difficult, even with all your experience. If this is happening to you or someone close to you, it's important to listen carefully to what your body and mind are trying to tell you. Because, although many call it a part of aging, these memory lapses can be early signs of something much more serious: the onset of a degenerative process in the brain. And the name no one likes to hear, but which must be faced, is Alzheimer's. But what if I told you there was a powerful, natural way to help your brain protect itself before the damage progresses? Yes, there is a tea used by Japanese monks for centuries. It combines 3 ingredients with a direct effect on cerebral circulation, reducing inflammation and clearing toxic residues that accumulate in the brain over time. These residues, such as beta-amyloid protein, are one of the main factors behind memory loss and mental confusion. Traditional Japanese medicine believes this tea helps clear the mind, restore focus, and preserve memory as we age. And here's the most incredible detail. You probably already have the ingredients for this tea at home, or you can easily find them at any market or natural market. It's simple to make, inexpensive, and if taken at the right time of day, can become a true mental protection ritual. Today, I'll teach you how to prepare this tea, why it works, and what simple habits you can adopt to keep your mind young, active, and protected even after 60. Because when it comes to Alzheimer's, the secret isn't just in the medication, but in what you do every day. Let's get started. If you want to learn how to protect your memory with natural methods before signs of Alzheimer's progress, sign up now and begin this journey of caring for your brain. During deep sleep, the brain enters a natural cleansing mode. It's as if it activates a housekeeping system that removes toxins accumulated during the day, especially so-called beta-amyloid proteins. These proteins, when not eliminated, begin to accumulate between neurons, forming plaques that disrupt communication between brain cells. And it's precisely this miscommunication that triggers forgetfulness, mental confusion, and, over time, can develop into diseases like Alzheimer's. The problem is that, after age 60, this cleaning system becomes increasingly slow. It's as if the brain is operating with a reduced and tired cleaning crew. This happens because the quality of deep sleep, which is essential for brain regeneration, tends to decline with age. And when sleep isn't deep, the cleaning doesn't happen as it should. Furthermore, chronic stress, so common in people who live with anxiety, releases inflammatory substances that literally rust the brain. A diet rich in sugar, fried foods, and processed foods further accelerates this process, inflaming the vessels that supply the brain and preventing it from receiving oxygen and nutrients efficiently. And when we add a sedentary lifestyle to all this, a lack of movement and stimulation, the result is a slower, heavier, and more vulnerable brain. Therefore, protecting the brain requires more than a single cup of tea. It requires a conscious lifestyle with daily choices that promote mental regeneration. And the good news is that this doesn't mean living a restricted or rule-filled life. It just means incorporating simple, natural practices that act as an internal bath for your brain. Practices you can start today. And the first step is learning to recognize the signs that your brain is crying out for help. The first step is to learn to recognize the signs that the brain is crying out for help. Alzheimer's, contrary to what many people think, doesn't begin with a sudden memory blackout. It's sneaky, silent, and often disguises itself as normal aging. But there are 5 classic signs that frequently appear in people over 60, and ignoring them can be very costly. The first is forgetting recent appointments. A person goes to the doctor and, hours later, no longer remembers what was said at the appointment. They make lunch plans and completely forget. The second sign is repeating stories and questions without realizing it. You tell them something, and minutes later they ask the same question. This isn't distraction, it's a short-term memory failure, and this should trigger an alarm. The third sign is difficulty organizing simple tasks. Paying bills, preparing a recipe you've made hundreds of times, keeping track of a shopping list. Everything starts to seem more complicated and confusing. The fourth is disorientation in familiar places. The person who always knew how to get to the bakery alone starts to get lost on the way. They forget how to get home, or even get confused within their own neighborhood. And the fifth sign, perhaps the most subtle, is a change in emotional behavior. Apathy, unexplained irritation, or a silent, unjustified sadness. This is often interpreted as depression, but it can be the beginning of cognitive decline. These signs don't mean the person already has Alzheimer's, but they are like flashing beacons in the dark, warning that the brain needs attention. The earlier they are identified, the more effective the intervention can be. And this is where ancient Japanese wisdom comes in, with practices that not only combat these signs, but also help regenerate brain connections naturally and safely. And one of these practices is a recipe you can prepare today with simple ingredients and a profound effect on your brain. One of these practices is a recipe you can prepare today with simple ingredients and a profound effect on your brain. It's a tea used for generations by monks and elderly people in Japan, a true ritual of brain purification. It combines three natural elements that, together, activate circulation, reduce inflammation, and help the brain eliminate toxic waste that accumulates over time. The first ingredient is ginkgo biloba, an ancient plant that increases cerebral blood flow and stimulates memory and focus. Several studies indicate its benefits in people with mild cognitive impairment, precisely because of its ability to oxygenate the brain. The second is dried rosemary, an aromatic herb with potent antioxidant properties that helps protect neurons from premature aging. It also has a direct effect on mood and mental clarity. And finally, turmeric, a golden root used in Eastern medicine, rich in curcumin, which combats brain inflammation and stimulates the production of new neurons, essential in the prevention of neurodegenerative diseases. Preparation is simple. Boil 300 milliliters of water, turn off the heat, and add 1 teaspoon of dried ginkgo biloba leaves, half a teaspoon of dried rosemary, and a pinch of turmeric shavings or turmeric powder. Cover the infusion and let it steep for 10 minutes. Drink this tea while still warm, about an hour before bed. This is because it's during deep sleep that the brain activates its nighttime cleaning process, and these ingredients help enhance this effect, cleansing toxins and preparing your nervous system for a new day. You can turn this tea into a daily mind care ritual, something simple, comforting, and deeply therapeutic. But just as important as what we drink at night is what we put on our plates in the early hours of the morning, because a poorly chosen breakfast can negate all the benefits of this drink. So now, I want to show you how to put together a morning meal that feeds your brain and protects your memory with every bite. Comment now. I will always have memory to affirm your commitment to your brain health and inspire others to do the same. Breakfast can be your first shield against Alzheimer's, or a poison disguised as routine. It all depends on the choices you make first thing in the morning. Instead of white bread, stuffed cookies, and that sugary coffee, start with a dish that truly nourishes your brain connections. A boiled egg, for example, is one of the best sources of choline, an essential nutrient for the formation of neurotransmitters linked to memory and concentration. Along with it, half an avocado offers healthy fats that nourish the brain and stabilize blood sugar, preventing spikes that cause mental fog. To drink, swap regular coffee for green tea. It contains L-theanine, which improves focus and calms the mind at the same time. And if you want to further reinforce this shield, add a handful of walnuts or blueberries, rich in antioxidants that combat neural aging. Finish with a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil on top of the avocado or on a piece of whole wheat sourdough bread, if you're going to eat it. These foods not only nourish, but reprogram the brain to age with more lucidity and agility. It's not enough to simply feed the brain with good nutrients. You also need to consciously wake it up, respecting the body's rhythm and preparing the nervous system for a new cycle of functioning. As soon as you open your eyes, before even getting out of bed, take 3 deep breaths. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for another 4 seconds, and slowly exhale for 8. This simple gesture reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and immediately oxygenates the brain. Then, stand up slowly and gently stretch your arms, neck, and legs. Stretching activates blood circulation and improves the flow of oxygen and nutrients to the brain, as if turning on the key to a machine that needs movement to wake up effectively. Immediately afterward, Open the window or go to a spot where you can get a few minutes of sunlight, even if only briefly. Morning sunlight stimulates the production of serotonin, improves mood, and most importantly, activates the production of vitamin D, an essential nutrient for neural protection that is severely deficient in many elderly people. Finally, drink a glass of warm water with a few drops of freshly squeezed lemon. This combination helps hydrate, cleanse the liver, and stimulate the digestive system. But more than that, it improves blood flow, promotes cerebral circulation, and increases your energy levels in the early hours of the day. These small rituals, when repeated daily, create a cumulative effect on the brain, making it more alert, more resilient, and less vulnerable to degenerative processes. But there's an additional secret practiced by Japanese centenarians, a method of conscious awakening that, in addition to preventing falls, activates brain regions linked to memory and balance. The Japanese cognitive stimulation ritual is a simple practice, lasting less than 5 minutes a day, used for centuries in monasteries and villages in rural Japan, where it's not uncommon to find elderly people over 90 who still have sharp memories, clear minds, and complete autonomy. The secret lies in the combination of small tasks that require focus, motor coordination, and activation of areas of the brain that are normally dormant in everyday life. The first of these may seem strange, but it works, writing with your non-dominant hand. If you're right-handed, use your left hand to write down your name, the date, or even a short to-do list. This forces the brain to create new connections, challenging your comfort zone and activating the opposite hemisphere of your brain, something scientists call neuroplasticity. Then, read aloud for 5 minutes. It could be a passage from a book, a prayer, or a piece of news. The important thing is that reading aloud requires synchronization between vision, speech, and hearing, 3 cognitive functions that need to be trained to avoid weakening over time. While reading, take the opportunity to gently massage your temples, using circular motions. This region is highly vascularized and sensitive. By stimulating it, you activate areas linked to focus, memory, and well-being. Massage, in addition to relaxing, helps oxygenate the brain and improve local circulation, enhancing the effects of reading and writing exercises. This 3-step sequence, reverse writing, spoken reading, and conscious touch, acts like a mental breakfast, awakening the senses, strengthening brain connections, and, most importantly, keeping your mind active and flexible. And now that you know what to do to nourish, activate, and protect your brain, it's time to make a decision that could change the course of your mental health for years to come. Because if you're over 60, what you do in the early hours of the day determines your mental health, and that choice is entirely in your hands. Food, movement, rituals, tea, breathing, all of this may seem too simple at first glance. But it's precisely these daily practices that, repeated consistently, build a more protected, clearer, and younger brain over time. Don't wait for forgetfulness to become routine. Don't let your lucidity slip amid haste, stress, or neglect of your own body. Today, you learned that there's a natural path, based on ancient wisdom and modern science, that can keep your mind active for much longer. Now, declare your choice. Comment below, I choose to protect my brain. Share this video with someone you love who could benefit from this information. And if you want to know which foods help regenerate brain cells and boost your memory, click on the next video below.